All right, good morning, everybody. Come on into the Rooted in Progress Stream Center. We got business to handle. Yes, it's your favorite host, Deanne King, for Terrence Middlebrooks. Bring us up on the screen. Come on, Terrence.
We are here. Welcome. Happy Thursday, everybody.
We are continuing our candidate conversation series. For those of you who are joining us this week who may have missed last week and haven't been caught up, we are basically interviewing all of the candidates running for the District 5 City of Tampa Council seat. And so last week we had Joanna Colbert. Today we're actually going to feature two of the candidates, one being Miss Nia Young and the other being Audette Bruce. So we don't want to waste too much time because we want to give them as much time as possible. We're going to bring in our girl, Nia Young, who is sitting in our studio live with us. How you feeling today?
I feel great.
Welcome to Rooted in Progress.
Thank you. You all have a very welcoming energy and space. So I love it. This is awesome. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you. We are honored to have you. Those folks who are listening into us live right now on WFLA on the Facebook page, this is a live question and answer. So be a part of the conversation. If you have questions, don't tell us you're not an informed voter. Get informed, ask questions, so that way you could be an informed voter. Nia, let's just start with you. Tell us about yourself, where you were born. I understand you came to Tampa a little more than 20 years ago. So tell us all about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been in Tampa 22 years. I live in Tampa Heights. I graduated from Middleton High School.
Okay.
Then I went to get my bachelor's degree from University of South Florida.
Oh, period. Go Bulls.
While I was in Tampa, I worked at WMNF as I was on a radio show.
Oh, so you're new to, you ain't new to this.
I didn't want to say nothing. I worked at WMNF. I also was a programmer at WTMP.
Okay. You
dibbled and dabbled a little bit. And then after that, I went to DC. I went to Howard University to get my master's degree in political science. And while I was there, I worked at the Washington Urban League, and I also worked at another nonprofit called Ronald Walter Center for Leadership and Public Policy, where I worked on a grant that came out of the Obama administration. It's called 21st Century Policing, Engaging College Students in Policing.
Wow.
And so where I went around the country doing different focus groups with college students, basically talking about how they feel about, community policing and how they can make it better. And then I came back home and I started working for my family's nonprofit, which is Tampa Heights Junior Civic Association. And also went to University of Tampa. I got my nonprofit management certification.
Wow.
And I'm also a graduate of the TOBA TLI Leadership Institute of class of 24.
Congratulations on all of that, first and foremost. I mean, you have an incredible background.
Thank you.
At what point did you think that you were going to just kind of run for office and more so kind of get into politics, and not even into politics, but more so change making for the community you live in?
Well, working in grassroots nonprofit, you see a lot of things on the ground, especially working with children and families. And so, and I'm from we call ourselves a service family. So we're kind of just people that just do. And so for a long time, I would work with my kids and I work with my families and I go, there has to be something else. Like there are issues here that need to be addressed. And I'm a community member and I'm an advocate. And I said, I'm going to put my head in the ring. I'm going to see what I can do.
Well, at what point did you realize that this is for me? The time is now to throw your hat in that race?
I think sometimes, you ask God, what's next, and they say when you ask, be prepared right then, because he answers very quickly. He's not going to have you on hold. He's not going to have you on hold. And so I asked, I said, I've been doing a lot of work. And sometimes people see things in you that you don't necessarily see. And they say, hey, you should do this. I'm like, me? And that was right. And I said, well, God, I asked you to give me a sign, and here it is. So when it's time, it's time. And I've been working in community for a long time. And even, this started when I was really a kid, honestly. I always knew the importance of serving community. That's been instilled in me since I was a kid. And so everything I've done up until this point, I feel like the time is now. So, yeah.
Good for you.
Nice.
One, it takes a lot to even get there, right? The courage it takes to say that I'm going to do something like this.
Yeah.
You talked about how this has kind of been in you since you were a kid, but you have also done a lot in the political realm. I'm reading here you started with political canvassing for the late Florida Senator James Hargret. Give us some of that political background and some of the things where people might be like, I don't know, she ready. Tell the folks why you're ready.
Yes. At 10 years old, I was knocking on doors.
There you go.
Let's, I and at the time, I would come and visit my grandmother in the summers. And at the time, I didn't even know that what I was doing was public service or community work. I just knew, all the cousins knew that grandma was going to take us to Walmart after and we were going to get whatever we wanted, right? Just knocking on some doors. So I'm going around like, hey, are you registered to vote? Are you registered to vote? So I learned at a very early age it's important. That community is important. Bringing community together is important. Engaging community is important. And it's at my core. And it has just gone with me in everything that I do. Community advocacy, all the time. And so I just kept it with me. I kept it with me. Yeah.
Good for you.
And we know we're here based on the sad case of
Gwendolyn Henderson.
Yeah, Gwendolyn Henderson passing. At what moment did you realize, like, oh, wow, this is my opportunity? And how quick was it for you to get your head wrapped around this race or the fact that you're running?
I had to think about it for a couple days. Because it, like you were saying earlier, it takes a lot to put yourself out there in this realm. I commend anybody that actually puts their name in the hat to want to be that change and make positive change. And so it took me some time to really think like, is this really, can I do this? Is it? And I said, yeah, I can do it. Duh. So I went and I filed my paperwork on a Friday, and on Monday we were out and running. So
Good for you. It's difficult because District 5 is such a vast district, right? Yes. So when we talk about District 5, for those of you who might not know, right, we're talking about portions of East Tampa, portions of West Tampa, portions of downtown Tampa, Water Street, portions of South Tampa. It's a lot. You go from people who can't afford rent, people who don't know how or can't afford their groceries, to people who throw away their groceries on a daily basis, to people who live in $5 million condos, right? Yeah. How can you be an advocate for both of those, no matter what spectrum they fall on in between those two?
So I always say collaboration, shared responsibility, transparency, accountability. This Tampa is growing a lot, as we can see. Just in the over 20 years that I've been here, I've seen a lot of growth. Tampa is changing and growing a lot,
rapidly,
very rapidly. But we have a lot of people with a lot of hopes and dreams and backgrounds and experiences. And part of, being in that seat is being able to be a voice for all those people, and I think that's so important. It's that you're able to make sure that you're addressing everybody's needs because everybody has a need. And I think, but as District 5 is big, but I think that's what makes it so unique is because there's so many different people, and part of what makes a great community are that you have different people. That's what makes a community, what makes you go, oh, I like this here. It's not one person or one type of thing, or it's beautiful, right? So I think it's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah, it is. And in what ways do you plan to positively make an impact on the city council?
Well, one, of course, as city council, you work for your people. One of my one of my passions is youth. So youth, strong neighborhoods, economic development, and smart growth are some of my projects or things that I really want to advocate for. And I put youth at the top of that because, one, the youth are our future. We are planning for them, and I've seen firsthand what it looks like when you give back, or when you pour into youth, when you pour into them, they'll give back. You know, when the child knows, they come in, they're very soft spoken or a little standoffish, but once they know that you love them and that I may give you tough love, they're gonna reciprocate that. Go, oh, okay, she cares about me, and they'll want to come back and they'll want to do more. So I think that making sure that we're planning for our youth, but also for everyone that's in the city.
As you talk about the things that you stand for, we do have a question from one of our viewers, Chris. First of all, Chris, let me get you together real quick. I think you missed a couple things. He asked about your background. Do you have a college degree? Things like that. So yes, she went to the University of South Florida, got her master's from Howard in political science, and also got a certification from the University of Tampa, correct?
Yes.
So that is her educational background. But his ultimate question is, what do you stand for, and how will you advocate for the community?
I stand for people. Again, working in grassroots nonprofit and working on the ground, you see a lot. You see a lot, not just with the children, with their families, with the communities. Myself in the community that I live in, you see a lot. I am an advocate for people. I wouldn't have it any other way, and I think I feel like that's pretty plainly said.
Well, District 5, like, not only is it a vast district, right, and it encompasses so many different communities and so many different people, right? There are so many different problems across all of those communities. What do you see as the biggest issues right now facing District 5?
Well, I know housing for sure, and
affordability,
right. and as we can see, that's like it's a nationwide issue. Housing and affordability, and transit. We are growing a lot, but we have to have reliable, safe transportation as well with that growth, and then also economic development opportunities for people to make a living where they're not just living, where they're actually able to go out and do things and have fun in this city and partake in the amazing things that are happening here. Yeah.
Well, and then Deanne talked about just the vast majority of character that's in District 5. How will you represent the voices, especially those unheard of or unrepresented? How would you address that or represent them?
So, again, community is listening. I think one of the first characteristics that you have to have as a leader is to be able to be a good listener, and always know that you don't know everything and that you are always learning. And so, as cliche as it sounds, but really listening to people. I think because sometimes you have people that really just want to be heard. Like, listen, this is what's happening. And because District 5 is big, I don't live in West Tampa. I don't live in Channelside. I don't live in downtown. I know what's in my area, but I can only go by the people that live, work, and play in that area, and they tell me about their experiences, and this is what's happening. And so I think listening, being collaborative, and being accountable, and having that transparency with the community is how you represent everybody.
One thing we know is faux show when it comes to city council. Electing one person, whoever fills this seat for District 5, it doesn't stop there, right? You need other votes. You need that collaboration that you've been talking about in order to even get anything passed or changed. Another thing that we're facing when it comes to this election is, unfortunately, it's coming at a time where the budget more than likely is already going to be created. So how do you come in ready, advocating for your district, when honestly the odds are already kind of stacked against you when it comes to the budget?
So I think that's where the advocacy piece comes in, making sure that whatever is in that budget is being spent how we said it's going to be spent in that budget. So, for example, I think there is about $8 million, I think, in the budget for parks and programs. So we're going to make sure that that money is going exactly to parks and programs, making sure that there are programs for our students, that the resources are there for them to go after school or for summer programming. So I think that's where the advocacy piece really comes in, but also that accountability as well. Yeah. This is what we said we're going to do. It needs to happen. If it's not moving along, why? Where's the report? what's taking so long. This is what the community has asked for. This is what we said we're going to do. So let's make sure that we're doing that.
It's a tough job.
It is.
It's a tough job.
You know, people, hey, put your name in the hat and y'all try. I mean, goodness, it takes a lot to put yourself out there that way. But, you know, I love my community. I do. I love my community, and I want to be a voice. As soft-spoken as I am, but trust me.
Well, Nia, and you know, you're new to a lot of people there in District 5. Tell people how they could, what are you doing to get out there and reach the community? And are you shaking hands? Are you knocking on doors? All of the above. Talk about that approach.
Absolutely. Again, I worked in nonprofit for a long time. Even before I came back after school, I was already working with my family's nonprofit and just always in the community doing things. But again, so going out, like you were saying, going out, knocking on doors, going to the events. I don't know if y'all seen all this, all of our forums and our meet and greets, you know. But hey, that's where the B12 and the working out comes in, because you gotta keep your stamina up so you can go to all these things. But just going out and talking to people. You know, I'm no stranger to that. Again, I've been knocking on doors since I was 10. So
what are the people saying?
In terms of election or
and what they want. What are they asking you right about now?
A lot of it's a lot about housing. A lot of people want to know about housing, and people want to know what is it that you're going to do to help me. I think that's especially in those communities that feel they've been neglected for some time, and they have. So for me, I don't run away from that. I understand that. And I think passion for your community is a good thing, because it means that you stand for something and you want to see your community grow and you want to be a part of it. So I think passion is good.
When you tell them why they should vote for you, what is that answer? Why should people vote for Nia Young?
People should vote for me because I love my community. I want to be an advocate. I want to be a voice for people. I think I have a perspective. I think I can bring a different perspective to council, and just stressing the importance again of collaboration, shared responsibility, transparency, accountability. This doesn't move without those four. No one entity or no one person can do anything. It literally takes all of us, and we may not agree on everything, but there's always a middle ground, or there's something that we both can agree on this, and that is how we're going to be able to move forward and do it positively and make sure that we have everybody on board with us. It can't be one person. We have to work together to do it.
That is true. That is very true.
You win this election. First day in office, what's your plan? What's your action? Where's your mindset?
If
when
it's
it comes
me, I'm
to
decorating my office first day. Bump y'all.
Well, you gotta like where you work. Well, first, I am very. I'm a listener and I'm a learner, and I want to know. Okay, what's happening right now? Where are we at right now? What. We've passed this budget. Okay, let's start talking about it. What are the dates? What are our dates of completion? When did we say we're going to do this? So I intend to hit the ground running. I do. I don't plan to waste any time. I'm fine with that.
Have you familiarized yourself with city council and the meetings and the way they function and the way they go and things like that?
Oh yes. Yes. Going to city council meetings or watching city council meetings. And again, even before, I've been to a few. So, I'm ready. Okay. Listen, I don't know how many ways to say it. If I knew Spanish and French, I'd say it in that way too. But this, I want to be a voice for people. I want to be a voice for people. I want to be an advocate for people. And I can't stress it enough how much we have to work together to move. Working in nonprofit, you see so much. When I first started at my nonprofit 7 years ago, I had a cohort of about 35 kids. None of those kids are here anymore. And I tell this story because it's important. So you can see I know what's happening. I had 30 kids that none of them are in Tampa anymore. But I can tell you where they are. They're in Riverview, Plant City, Ruskin, Orlando, Atlanta. They're not here.
And the reason that is because
it's too expensive.
Affordable housing out those
housing,
in those ways.
whether it be jobs, opportunities, other places, and these are families that have been here for years, for generations. We can't let that happen, and the way that we make sure that doesn't happen is collaboration, shared responsibility, accountability, transparency. We know Tampa is growing. It's happening. We know that.
Yeah.
We know
it's growing all right.
Well, and there's been talks in the news that there's a strong, I don't say strong possibility, but there is a possibility that the Rays Stadium could be built in your district. What is your take on that? And then also there's that development of Port of Tampa. Like, what is your take on that? Going forward. Of course, you speak on affordable housing. We know if there's any development that's taking place that has anything to do with a professional team, prices are going to go skyrocket. How are you going to be an advocate for those people who may or may not have to leave because they can't afford it?
One, I think it's important that we make sure we're not putting the burden on our taxpayers. I know that, and that has come up in conversation a lot of times. And we know that those taxes can sometimes disproportionately affect those that may not really have the means. So one, I think that's important, making sure that we're protecting our taxpayers. Also, if a development's going to come here, well, you're going to use local businesses. You're going to use local contractors. There are people here that can benefit from that opportunity. We're going to get our youth involved. Get them in training. Make sure they have jobs and opportunities. So that's how I feel like I would address that.
It's a big project. There's a lot going on in District 5 right now. One, we appreciate you coming on, telling us about your platform and your passion, because not only do I hear it, but I see it in you. And it's one of those things where we said at the beginning that it takes a lot to even step into these shoes and want to be an advocate for such a large community. So hats off to you. How can people follow your journey and your campaign?
So NayaForTampa.com is a website. You can also Instagram, I'm Naya for Tampa, and then I think Facebook is Nia Young for District 5.
Okay.
Nia Young. Listen, I'm trying to keep up with all the social medias and the website and the emails. Email is nayafortampa@gmail.com, and then I can also be reached 813-833-7028.
And how can people contribute to your campaign?
So on the website, nayafortampa.com, there is like a little link to donate to the campaign. Also, volunteering as well. If you're having a neighborhood association meeting and you like for me to come and speak, please, or you have a neighborhood group that you like for me to come and speak at, I would love to. So, yeah.
Well, we appreciate you.
I appreciate you all.
Thank you so much.
This is awesome.
This won't be our last time.
Yeah,
I am
hope
sure.
not.
I am sure.
We need to have another one when I win.
Oh, period.
Listen, we do this show every week.
Y'all heard it
so,
first.
yes, we will need the content.
Rooted in Progress. Thank you again, Naya.
Yes,
we
Naya,
appreciate
it's
you.
awesome.
We're going to have Audette come in just a minute.
Awesome.
So again,
Thank you, guys.
safe travels to you, and we wish you all the best
Absolutely.
with this
Thank you so
campaign.
much. I appreciate you
Naya.
both. Thank you.
Terrence, I told Naya, I said, well, there are 1,000,004 of y'all running
Yes.
for this seat, which is just wild. So many candidates. But you know what I think that means to me, Terrence? I think that shows the amount of love that people have for this community.
Right.
Because I wouldn't run.
Well, and the thing about it's that
I still love the community, though.
Right. We're having these candidates on. Why? Because we know the last election, it was a very low turnout. Like, we want you to really get out there and vote. Those that are in that district, get out and vote, man. Make a presence there in the polls. And because this is a big deal. Gwen left
it's a huge deal.
She left big shoes to fill.
Yeah. Also,
therefore, it's important. Get out there and vote.
We have a question from Dave Coleman. Will you have all candidates on? So this is something that we say at the beginning of our show. I believe it's also on our ticker on the screen. We have reached out to every last 1,000,004 people who put their hat in the ring to be the next city council person for the city of Tampa for District 5. We have reached out to all candidates. We ain't heard back from all candidates, but we have reached out. We've heard back from majority.
Listen, I don't think they heard you. I don't think they heard you say that we reached out to all the candidates running for District 5. Now, if we don't have those candidates on, that's not on us.
It ain't on us.
Yes. So if you bump into them at the coffee shop,
texted, email, Facebook,
if you know
DMs,
them,
slid in the DMs.
Yes, if you know them and know I have access to them, let them know that they need to be here on Rooted in Progress to have a seat at the table. So
let's bring in our next candidate, Audette Bruce. How you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you. I wasn't able to hug you, but I'll hug you at the end. We are so honored to have you on. Again, it sounds funny because there are so many candidates, but I was just telling Terrence, I feel like it shows how the love that people have for this community and for the city of Tampa. So let's just get to know you. Tell us about Audette, where you're from, all the good things.
Well, I live in West Tampa.
Okay.
I lived there for about 8 years, worked there for about 10. It's been a place where my family, we've like decided to actually put in roots and to invest in the community. You know, I think a lot of folks come into our communities and think, oh, well, what's in it for me? But what I've seen is that there is a wealth of community spirit and communication that happens in there where you actually get to know your neighbors and you care about them. Yeah. And I haven't seen that in other parts of this. I haven't seen that in other parts of the nation where I've lived. My husband and I moved down here from New York about
we're in New York
years ago. So we've sort of lived all around. We were in Queens for
okay. My mom's from Brooklyn. My whole family is from Brooklyn. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and my husband's from Long Island.
Okay.
We have roots there too. But you know, we didn't know about Tampa. And then when we came down and we saw what it was and we're like, this is an incredible town.
Yeah.
There is so much here. And our first thought was, why did it take us so long to get here? This is such a
Now, this was 13 years ago, right? So, I mean, it's definitely changed. Absolutely.
A lot of growth, right? And we're talking about District 5, which is such a vast district. We've talked about this with all of the candidates that we've talked to thus far. We're talking about portions of West Tampa, East Tampa, downtown Tampa, Water Street, portions of South Tampa. And I put it this way. You have someone who can't afford rent. You in this district, right? You could go from somebody who can't afford rent, who doesn't know when they're going to be able to pay for groceries, all the way up to people living in $5 million condos. How will you be an advocate for those two spectrums and everyone in between?
I think it goes back to, you know, we've been talking about affordable housing, you hear about it, but the thing that I'm really concerned about, that big topic, is generational wealth and seeing that people are able to stay in homes. Because we've had neighbors who, you know, they're living in grandma's house. Yeah. They want to pass it down to their grandchildren, and I'm all for that. Yeah. How do we continue that legacy? Because I don't like it when I see the developers come in and they just raise whole communities in option of putting up something bigger, bolder, maybe even more beautiful, but you've lost the community. I think we've got to preserve what's working, and the community is what. So, you know, I've heard from people who are upset about investors coming in, renting them out as Airbnb. I've got Airbnbs in my own neighborhood. They're not always working well. Yeah. You know, and there's got to be a way to balance the investors with the residents so that we don't lose out on the community. In where investors bought out, you know, like a wide swath of it, and now it's just Airbnb. But what happens when we want to do a neighborhood block party? What happens when we actually want to get to know our neighbors and we got
and half the neighbors don't live here? Yeah.
So Audette, let's go back to your history a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your political background, and as well as why run now?
So I have been working for the in state politics here in Florida. So I, in 2020, law firm, and
I was there with Jackie Toledo.
And I started working for Jackie Toledo's campaign.
Yeah.
When the pandemic came, it really became clear to me that local politics, state politics, it matters. It matters.
Big time.
What happens to my family, even to the schools, what's going to, I had already focused my longer background. I worked at the UN.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I was always focused on it. When I got down here, there's no UN out
Right.
in Tampa. And so I was struggling to figure out, where do I put my,
Right.
what do I put my hands on? And then in 2020, it became really clear that if I want to make a change. So I got involved with her and ended up and moved to a couple of other legislators. So it gave me a really good perspective in our district from, they're like the northern parts of Hillsborough, even the central parts of.
Yeah.
So I want to use all of those resources, but the connections boost my community.
Yeah.
I want
That's
to
good.
see, I know a lot of representatives for the seat have come from the east side, and all props to them, but I'd really like to see West Tampa represented.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
I love this place.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible, and I think there's so much good. It's not just in West, but it is in across District 5.
I love that I see. So you worked on a variety of legislation. For folks who do not know, Audette has worked on legislation including combating human trafficking, reducing cost of prescription drugs, protecting our children's online information, and enforcing school speed zone laws. How will you implement some of that into your work if you were to be elected?
Well, and even addition, I don't mean to cut you off, Deanne, but even saying that you spent summers growing up rebuilding homes for low-income families. How can you take that in addition to what she said and apply it to your agenda?
That sort of started everything for me.
Wow.
I was a that was just focused. And then when I saw that the depths of poverty that can be found even in our own communities around the state and around the country, and what I want to be a part of. So creating availability of homes is near. So even this past year, within Rep. Jacques' office, was an initiative to zoning laws because of the vast numbers of LLCs that were coming in and buying residential homes.
Our community. And so we're getting, even there's been some communities that were fully rentals. And these are owned by people who aren't local, who may not have the same cares and concerns that a local investor, a local landlord would have. So, then you've got people who are dealing with these faraway landlords, and they're just trying to get a corporate buck off of it. They're just trying to get back their investment or make a profit, and they're not really seeing the needs of the family. They're not seeing the needs of the community. So that sort of influenced my desire to be in this realm. But yeah, even I had a chance to speak to the chief of police the other day.
Okay.
And I was asking him about the speed cameras. I was like, have you guys started that? He's like, we're just starting it now.
Yep.
So to see the actual cause and effect, that we actually worked on, to see it actually being taken up in my community, and that was something personal to me because I used to walk my kid to school, and even with a crossing guard and a stoplight, people would still be running red lights.
It is wild.
Yes.
It was wild, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I used to take my kid to school in New York City, and I was surprised at Tampa's drivers.
It was worse.
So,
that says a lot. That
Right?
definitely says a lot.
So.
When we look at the timing, and this is something, so Rooted in Progress, we did an episode and it was Hillsborough NAACP President Yvette Lewis was on that particular episode. And it was in that moment when I realized when she said, do you know they're going to pass the budget and there's no representation from District 5 on council? And my mind was blown because 1 + 1 ain't equal 2. Which I didn't realize that. Knowing that you're facing that, right? That battle in my eyes, that's an uphill battle that you're going to have to climb if you were to be elected coming in kind of after that happens. How will you still advocate for District 5, even if the budget is passed, if and when you are elected?
You know, when I realized the timing of that, I was like, man, that's
interesting, huh?
I think that's probably the nicest word. Interesting. It seems a little shady, but you know, I'm not in control so yet. But you know, when I look at what do we have available to us in this role, and I think a big part of it is the bully pulpit. You know, we can continue to advocate loudly. We have a bigger microphone. We have a higher platform to say, wait a minute, guys, this is not okay. This is not actually taking care of the people in our district. It might be taking care of a developer here or there, but we need to make sure that we've covered the ground, done the groundwork behind it. So I think it's holding people's feet to the fire, you know, whether it's, you know, city services, city staff, you know, ensuring that they're doing the follow-up work that's needed and that it's accurate and reliable, because we can't just trust that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it requires us as the leaders to do the homework and to make sure that we know, you know, what we're advocating for, and to hear from the constituents, and then to make those arguments strongly in a public forum.
Now, you spoke that you were behind the scenes on many campaigns, again, due to the sudden death of Gwen Henderson. When did you know that the time is now? Like, this is it? Or was this something that you were planning on doing like years down the road? But when this happened, you know, man, when did that light bulb go off and say, hey, this is it? The time is now?
I had, right around Easter time this year, I had a conversation with the councilwoman, and it was from that point that I was planning to run in 27. And when she passed, I think we were all in shock. Because it was, I mean, unexpected to say the least. But it ramped up my timeline, and it kind of jolted me into action. Like, oh wait, now's the time.
Yeah. So you had already thought about this for 27.
But for 27, so you're kind of like, oh, I can wait.
Time.
I can wait. But no,
you have time, and it's crazy how things happen, how God works, and how things kind of fall into place there. But it's always, and it's, I say this term all the time, and I really do mean it. Like, I stay ready. I don't ever have to get ready. And I feel like a lot of people probably felt that way even with this campaign. Like, I'm kind of ready, but it's like, oh no, I'm ready. Let's just go ahead and let's put all the pieces together and get this thing going. So one, hats off to you.
Thank you.
I commend anyone who has the wherewithal, the passion, the love, the time, and the decency and respect to actually want to represent their community. It takes a lot for someone to lead in that way. So congratulations to you for even getting to that point. I want to address Dave Coleman. He has a question. Thoughts on community policing? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I got to hear from the chief at a clergy event that they host annually. I think it was last week. And they were really emphasizing that that's their passion. And that's mine too, because I keep using this example, and there's probably better ones, so forgive me. But like, I liked Mayberry's idea. I liked the idea of the cops knowing the people that they're taking care of, and that there is a relationship. It's not adversarial, but it's seen as these are the helpers. These are the ones who are meant to ensure our safety, ensure continuance of our businesses, the safety of our children, security of our homes, our cars, you know, so that we don't have to become that hypervigilant, self-protective person that really shies away from engaging with our fellow neighbors. So I'm a firm advocate for that. I'd like to see it fully embraced by all the cops and law enforcement officials here in Tampa. I don't know how far they've gone. But I know that, if that's the direction that leadership is pointing toward, I hope that it will trickle down and it will become, the lifeblood of the, even the cop on the beat, that there is. And I know we live in Tampa, and I know it's hot.
Yeah.
Lord knows.
Very.
I've been knocking on doors and it's hot.
Heat.
It's hot. And one day they were like the heat dome, and I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry to my poor volunteers. But there is something so valuable about getting to know who's on the street with you, who's that neighbor down the street, what are they encountering? Yeah. And if I saw more cops in that role, especially in some of the tougher neighborhoods, I think that would go a long way in creating greater opportunities for trust and reliance.
Yeah. Speaking of sorry to.
No, you're fine.
You about to ask
No,
something?
go ahead.
So District 5 is how do I word this? It's the major minority district more so. It has the biggest population of minorities in the city of Tampa, right? So what stance do you have as it relates to building relationships? You mentioned law enforcement, especially between the Black community and law enforcement, or even making sure those minorities feel seen and feel heard when it comes to advocating for them.
Well, let's take the cops or the Tampa PD for a minute, law enforcement. So one of the things that they've been putting in some of the neighborhoods have been those mobile units, that.
Yep.
It kind of looks like an ET sort of machine.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And so we've questioned that in our neighborhood. We've been like, why are you doing this? Because I don't want to feel observed in the sense that Big Brother's watching or something, because that doesn't make you feel safe. Mm-hmm. That makes you feel spied upon. And yet there have been instances where neighbors have been asking for these because they still don't feel safe, even with the increased law enforcement presence. Mm-hmm. So I think I think it's a tough thing, but what I'm hearing from the law enforcement, at least, is that they want to know. They want to be in the communities, and they're open to hearing from residents and neighbors. So I'm hopeful for that. Okay. But I think that's part of the role of city council, is not just to sit up and, I think a lot of us understand that what you see on the dais, what you see, in the chamber, that's only maybe 10% of the real job. The real job is done beforehand. It's in the negotiation. It's in the work with the community members, with the service providers. So I think that's part of our role as city council, is to provide opportunities for that. Mm-hmm. I've seen that happen with some of our elected leaders, both county and city, where they've created like town halls or things to allow that. And I think a lot of people maybe shy away because it is uncomfortable to be called on the carpet. Yeah. But if we can continue having these open lines of communication, it can create greater trust, because right now I think people get upset if they feel they're being lied to, things are being hidden from them, that there's like a whole conspiracy. So I think the more we can open lines of communication and even get those who can actually make the decisions in front of neighbors and friends in the community, the more is the better, because they need to hear it directly. Yeah.
Would you say that policing and affordable housing is one of the top two agendas on your list?
There's those two, and then I've got one more. It's our streets and our transportation options. I mean, I don't know anybody I've talked to maybe one person who is okay with our current I-275, I-4.
Who is that one person?
Right.
He was my neighbor, and we didn't agree. He was like, it's great. I'm like, no, it's not great. It's not great.
You know what I call that? The Hot Mess Express.
I was going to say
I-4.
Dysfunction Junction, right?
It is awful.
Yeah. So, and I know that that's not necessarily city council's purview, but I think what's happening in that is that we've got people who are diverting into the neighborhoods to avoid that craziness.
Yeah.
That's not helping us.
Right.
We don't necessarily want all the extra traffic and what that brings with it. So I think there does have to be some consideration and biting the bullet on some of the necessary transportation changes. How many of us have heard, these fanciful tales of, oh, we're going to have high-speed rail? Where is it? Where is it?
Well,
I love it.
And what would be the solution for that? What would it be? High-speed rail? Would it be more, train services, or what does that look like for you?
So, as someone who came out of New York City, I know it can be done. I have seen buses that I would want to take.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I have seen bus lines that are dependable, are reliable on timing, and they're safe and they're clean. I think we can have that here.
Okay.
I think it's going to be an investment project. I don't think it's going to come next day. But even a couple of years ago, I had a chance to tour the heavy wheel maintenance vehicle situation in Hart, and that place floods all the time. So I'm like, well, how, if we're not funding our public services, and yet we've got, so it's sort of connected with the affordable housing issue, because we've got folks who can't get into the city center without taking a bus, so maybe a 2-hour commute. They can't afford to live here.
Right.
So we've got workforce housing that is so far away, and then we've got this transportation jam on top of it. So we do need high-speed rail. I'd love the idea of express buses coming in from the outer communities. I'd love the idea of dedicated lanes, carpool lanes, to get things moving.
Yeah.
And to get people out of our neighborhood streets.
I have one more question before we wrap. There's the talks that perhaps the Rays could be building a stadium there in Ybor. What is your take on that? Especially when you talk about a Fort or Channel Side area, the Port of Tampa development. When you talk about affordable housing, how
because them prices gonna shoot.
They're gonna shoot sky high.
Holy, yeah.
So what is your take on that?
Because that would be your district.
It would. it like everything is in this district.
Yeah.
And the fact that somebody is not representing this district and deciding on the budget is mind blowing.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. The Rays, it's interesting, right? Because they tout, oh, we'll bring in so many jobs. Maybe. Maybe. And maybe they'll be from the people in the district, but maybe not. We don't know. But that could be built into the agreement.
Okay.
Right.
The other thing is, we've got jams, traffic jams right there. If they're talking about where they're talking about putting it, like what, there's a dead end, there's water. What are you going to do? Yeah. So maybe they're willing to put in money toward high-speed rail. Maybe they're willing to put in money toward some real traffic solutions.
It's interesting.
It's a big battle, you would face.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the deal. I don't know that St. Pete got a great deal.
Yeah.
So, I think it's really about the deal that's struck and making sure that even the people that live in that area are taken care of.
Absolutely.
They're going to rely a lot on you if you were to win this seat. So
for sure,
man, you got to buckle up. Buckle up, get ready for the ride.
As we wrap up, why should people vote for Audette Bruce?
I believe that District 5 is full of good things. I believe that this is an incredible land with a storied history, and it has an incredible people that live here that are incredibly resilient and care about their community. I want to represent that, and I want to tell that story to the rest of Tampa, because there are things here that actually need to be replicated in other districts. We have things that are so valuable, and it's part of the job of the city council person to make that known.
All right. Well, we appreciate you
Absolutely.
for coming on.
Thank you.
Really quick, how can folks support you? Whether it's events that are coming up or whether it's supporting your campaign.
So I'd love to get folks who would be willing to donate. We have qualifying coming up, and so that deadline is reaching next week.
August 15th, right?
August 15th, right, at noon. So if anybody wants to donate to the campaign, I'd love it. If you want to volunteer, I'd love it. It's audettefortampa.com.
All right. Well, we appreciate you,
Yes.
Audette. We are proud of you.
Thank you.
Also, for we're proud of all of the candidates for even taking on this venture. So we wish you all the best.
Thank
And
you.
if there's anything we can do here at Rooted, just let us know, please.
Thank you so
Let
much.
us
All right?
know.
Absolutely.
All right, Terrence, for
Yeah.
all of you still listening, yes, we have asked all of the candidates running for District 5 City Council seat here in the city of Tampa to come on to Rooted in Progress and let the people know why they should be elected. And so far we have had Audette Bruce, we've had Nia Young, and we've had Joanna
Yep.
Colbert. So make sure you all are being informed. Y'all need to go vote.
Yes.
This 5,000
Get out
out
and
of
vote.
44,000 that
Yes.
voted a couple years ago is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Don't let it happen again.
Well, and also too, we hope that you tune in to us because again, like she said, we're going to have as many of the candidates on as possible
Yes.
leading up to Election Day.
Absolutely.
So
We'll
just
have
if-
2 more candidates next Thursday, so make sure you join us. We're live at 9:30 in the morning, y'all. Live on the WFLA Facebook page. Just a live question and answer. Folks are able to ask these candidates questions in the moment, so make sure you're joining us. We're live on the WFLA app as well, and then you can catch the episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Just search for Rooted in Progress. As always, Deanne King for Terrence Middlebrooks. Stay rooted.
Stay rooted, folks.